Welcome back to Dying Out Loud, the podcast where we say everything on our minds in the moments that we have. Today, my guests are Fritz and Holly Heffinger, the owners of Out Cold Marketing in Chicago. I met Fritz many years ago when we worked together at a small experiential shop in Kansas City. And shortly thereafter, I met his girlfriend. That's what she was at the time, Holly. And throughout the course of the last 20-ish years or so, we have witnessed each other grow families. Our children have grown up. We have taken different paths and our roads have diverged. But the one thing that brings us back is the connection that we originally had. So I'm happy to share this conversation with everyone where we'll explore creativity, friendship, the evolution of life, and gratitude for the bond that has endured, even as our lives have moved in different directions. Fritz and Holly, I'm so glad to see you guys today. I know
Hey,
nobody else was privy to our conversation before we clicked record, but it's so great to see your faces after all of these years. I mean, besides Instagram and, social media, but it's so great to see you guys and be able to chat with you for a while today.
Yeah,
thanks for having us. We're
same to you.
excited too.
Same to you. It's so good to
Yeah,
see you.
awesome. Well, I think some of the stuff that I'm going to share with you today this might be the very first time that you've ever heard it, and so I hope that you'll receive it well and just come to know that probably there are hundreds of other people that you both have impacted in the same way, and maybe they've shared it with you and maybe they haven't, but I'm definitely going to represent myself, and I'm sure there are some other folks that would love to have had the time to spend with you and share this message. But I would love to just kind of kick it off with, let's go way back to whenever we all first met and we all first started hanging out together. Pretty sure, I think I met Holly for the first time at a Department Zero party, but
Wow.
Fritz and I obviously had worked together for a handful of weeks before then. But I just am dying to know if there's anything that you remember from those early days.
I mean, I remember a lot and I remember a little for many different reasons. I remember,
I second that motion.
yeah, it was always fun because with Department Zero, they kind of gave me the keys to like bring people in and stuff like that. And I've always been a firm believer of like first impressions. And so, when we would hire people, they would gotta go through me to do it. And it was obviously you have such a big personality and like I love those kind of personalities. And so it was pretty natural to come in. And I can remember just it being so easy to talk and hang out at work, after work, late night, early morning, and the job that we were doing required us to kind of be on call all the time.
Oh, it
So
did.
we had to really get along together and be one.
Yeah. That's one of the first things that I remember about you too, Fritz, is just the level of energy that you bring to every day. And I can tell that has not changed one single bit, just because I can feel the energy coming through the camera. But just the level of energy and passion that you brought to everything that you talked about or were working on, it was just really exciting. And that energy was really infectious. And I think that was kind of, for me, what drew me into what your world really, because not only did I eventually get to meet Holly, but there was a huge circle of friends that you both had known, through your days in college, and you were both so willing to open up and share those people, with me. And for me, I don't know if the two of you realize this or not, but when I first started working at Department Zero, I had only been out for a very short period of time. And I think that post coming out, you all were some of the first people that didn't know me from before whenever I was in the closet and pretending to be someone that I wasn't. And it was really awesome to know that people still would want to engage with me and create a friendship or a relationship of any type. And I think that did a great thing for me. It built a level of confidence that I didn't initially have in coming out. Like, it's like starting over from scratch again in a lot of ways. And that is one of the first things that and I tell people that all the time, just whenever we're talking about the two of you in general, that you both have that ability to just embrace people and welcome them in and really just allow people to be themselves. And for me, that was such a huge like a huge boost to it really did a lot for I think my level of confidence and the way I showed up socially for people. And I think I really started living in those moments. I mean, I recall lots of times in the basement of the Brooksider. I recall
The boom
I
boom
mean,
room.
obvious exactly, the boom boom room. I mean, there's so many times that I can think about. I mean, hell, I remember having Holly and Tracy and Brooke over at the house one night for wine, and we had only been living in the house for a little while, and that was kind of like our first little like quiet party, but we had such a great time. And people like Tracy, who eventually became my boss and a mentor to me, I mean, that relationship started because the two of you introduced me to Tracy. And Brooke, who, I still check in with every once in a while, she's another person. And, obviously Tracy's husband, Chris, and, Brian. There are just so many people that they all were just so passionate about life. It was such a great way to spend. You guys obviously were in your 20s. I was in my 30s, but it actually made me feel like I was a decade younger. And I think I still carry that with me today, that idea of being a decade younger. So, but yeah, all of those times were so impactful to me, and it was just a really great period of life.
It's so fun to hear you say that because it's funny. Holly and I have always talked about that current groups of friends and things like that. That like everybody always feels like they need to have a special invite to come hang and stuff like that. We always want to make our house and our life like there's no special invite needed. Just like come on over, kind of thing. Our old neighborhood in Chicago, we lived so close to people, and people just felt like they didn't get invited to come hang out in the backyard. It's like, dude, you saw me back there. Come on back. That was
Right?
some of our best friends have just been people just like, I don't care what's going on. I just want to hang and just be laid back and stuff. So I think that is a great personality trait for you and why we were drawn so much to you because you didn't feel like you needed an invite. It was just natural. It was like, well, we're friends. Come on over, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's how we kind of live our life. And now we live kind of away from everybody. I feel like we do need to invite people over more often, but it's definitely been a motto that we've shared with the kids and stuff like that too.
I love that. I mean, I can't imagine, especially only having seen pictures of your kids, but I can't imagine what it would be like to be in the same room with them and to see the influence the two of you have had on them. I can only imagine that they, like my kids, they're just like welcoming and loving to everyone that they encounter, and they just carry like the two of you with them everywhere they are. And I can only imagine that you guys are so proud and just amazed at watching them on their journey.
Oh, thank you. Yes. Well, and I want to jump back to something that you said of how like we didn't know the pre out of the closet Kris, right? And
Yeah.
Kris is the only person we've ever known. And it to me, you just seemed so much like yourself and seemed so happy to be who you were. And we talk about it all the time, like in our business and in life, like authenticity is the most important thing to us, right? And you can see
Yeah.
right through somebody who's trying to pretend to be somebody that they're not. So when you find people that you feel like they are being vulnerable and coming to you as their true self, that's who we gravitate towards. And I feel like that group of people and still the group of people that we spend time with today, are their authentic selves. And we
Yeah.
travel together in bands. And so when we're not there, you and Tracy, get to hang out, and that's amazing. And it doesn't hurt our feelings that our friends have relationships outside of us. Like that's so rewarding to us.
Yeah, what a great gift that is to give to people. And I don't know that people often look at it like that, but when you do welcome someone into your social circle and you invite them to share your friends and to create their own, tangential relationships, it's so amazing like to be on the receiving end of that. I've always wondered because it seems to come so natural for both of you. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen either of you ever turn away from another human being. You've always just been so engaging and welcoming and loving towards other humans. Where the hell does that come from? Like, what makes you guys show up like that every day?
I don't know. I mean, I can answer for myself. I just am generally interested in other people. I love learning about other things, and like I always say to people, like I love learning new things every day, but like hearing what people do for work and do for fun, and like what restaurants they like to eat at. Like as soon as you don't let that person talk to you or give you that input, you might never know, maybe not necessarily about that person, or but something that person likes to do. And so it has been fun. It's been really fun for us, and it's been, I bet, a lot harder for me when we moved to Glen Ellen from the city. Like I had to start making new friends and stuff like that. And it's funny because like Holly and I were talking about it. It's like we don't want to try to make new friends. We just want to be ourselves. So I started coaching, and Holly started doing the business, and just like you just said, like you just find these really authentic people that like don't care. Like I'm not a sporty guy, but I'm coaching to meet friends. I feel like that. What's that movie when he's going to get married, and he like, I don't have any friends to be groomsmen. And I was like, I kind of like took it like that. I do have friends. But like we moved here, Holly's like, why are you forcing this guy to be your friend? I was like, I don't know. My daughter's friends with them, and like I feel like they should be friends with me, and I'm like trying so hard. And then I was like, I just find like, why am I doing this? Like I just gotta find people that like just want to be friends and be out there.
You don't want to force it,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
That's very important. For me, my dad was in the military, so I moved around a lot when I was younger and had to reinvent, I had to make friends in different areas, excuse me, which I think is really an important quality. It was a big thing when we moved outside of the city. We were like, oh, do we really want to move our kids from all they've ever known? And I said, Absolutely. I think it's so important to put yourself out there and be an individual, right? Like we've talked about this so many times of the last thing that we would want is for our kids to feel like they need to be like somebody else. And, of course, as teenagers, they all want to dress the same and wear the same things that are on TikTok, whatever.
Dropping our daughter off at middle school. It's just like they all have the exact same.
Yeah.
Which one are you? The one with which box of that much?
But we encourage her to wave her freak flag and be as goofy and be her own personality. And I think that that's important, right? Like lead with kindness, because people can't not like you if you're kind. And then just be authentic. And that's something that I learned as a young kid, and that I find so attractive about Fritz, and why I hung on to him for
And a beautiful face.
And what we try to teach our kids, just lead with kindness, and then you can be as weird as you want, and people have to be nice to you.
But also, as you know, Chris, and I mean, maybe that's not where you're going with this, but where I'm going to go with it is like how rare that is nowadays. Like when you do find other children that are like super authentic and like funny and cool and stuff like that, just in their own unique way. It's like, well, you probably got some fucking cool parents. Like we got beat down, kind of
right.
Because, like everybody's just trying to be what they think they should be instead of like being what they want to be. And I think that has been really fun for us, especially in this move of like, okay, the kids got through a move, they left all their friends and stuff like that, and they still are doing the same funny, goofy stuff that they would be doing downtown. They still have very similar friend circles of like people who are authentic and fun. Like some of Four's buddies, like one of Four's buddies, I don't want to say a name out loud, but he came over and just like he comes over here and just feels like he can just do what he wants. He came in the door the other day and told Holly he took a poop in our woods because he'd never done it. And I was like, I love you. That's amazing. So
that is hilarious.
It's been really fun to see the kids bringing other kids in that are just like, well, you're very similar to how we think. Like you're fun and funny and stuff. So
love that. What a great just atmosphere to be in. And I'm sure that is why, folks are attracted and they want to come and they want to hang out with you guys, because it is a great, energetic, but yet laid back at the same time. Like there's always something fun and exciting going on. And I mean, I know that your lives have grown like in so many different directions, because you have Out Cold, and Holly, you're doing something now as well besides Out Cold. What are you doing now?
Right. So Fritz and I Fritz had founded, I came on shortly thereafter. Out Cold, we ran it for 12 years. And then in 2022, we sold it to private equity. So Fritz is still a part of the Out Cold business, very much so, leads that division of like a larger agency group now. And at that time in 2022, we had gone through COVID. I was like, I need some time to regroup.
Let's be honest, Holly didn't take a maternity leave. Both kids were raised in the office like 4
Oh,
to 6
wow.
weeks after they were born. Like we had a nursery in one of the offices. We have pictures of Marin on the clamshell chair, clammed to people's desks around the office because they were watching the kids while we were on the phone and stuff like that. So like it was super important to give Holly the mama maternity leave, but also to be able to be mom, like kind of thing.
Yeah.
The kids were just at that age where they it would be nice to have mom now. And it was, so that was a big thing for us for sure.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. So I left out cold, spent some time regrouping, being mom, and it's great. I love to be a mom, but I also missed being creative with adults, right? My kids are very
Yeah.
creative, but I missed collaborating with people, just working and applying myself. So I started an interior design business here in Glen Ellen, but I work nationwide and do commercial and residential projects. So it's really kind of very similar to experiential in that like we're crafting and creating environments that people can have a great time in. And
Yeah.
you kind of hit the nail on the head earlier of just like our home is a place that feels very put together, but is also super laid back. And, you can spill Cheetos on the floor and it's fine. but, it's just a place that's very welcoming, but still feels like it has style and elevated and is an expression of who we are. So that's what I'm bringing to interiors.
Which Kris said it. Like he literally said like that it's very laid back and inviting, and you don't feel like you can't sit down. Like Holly's style has always been that way, where it is put together, and we have kids here and stuff like that. But like when people come in, like the best comment we get all the time is like, "I feel like I just jump on your couch." Like, well, you should definitely jump on the couch. That's
Give it a try.
exactly.
I love that. I feel like as my kids have gotten older, I mean, our two dogs definitely rule the house. So we have a dog house. I mean, it's pretty modern looking. It's very neatly organized and laid out. My husband is actually an interior designer too. He
Cool.
used to work for Restoration Hardware, and most recently, before he left, and now he is actually a podcast producer, amazingly enough. But he has also spent some interior design time. So we have a well put together house, but we are definitely the kind of people that if you need to jump on the couch, you go right ahead and jump on the couch because the dogs definitely do everything on the couch anyway. So we definitely have that laid back. Even in the moments of like my most fatigued days, like it's still a place where I think anybody that wants to stop by can just like drop in whenever. And I think, that's definitely energy that I didn't grow up with. Like that wasn't really how my parents, that's not how they ruled their house, although we did have a lot of neighborhood kids come to our house regularly. But, as I co-parented my kids as they were growing up, I always tried to make my space as inviting and engaging to them as possible because they didn't spend all their time there. They only spent like, weekends there, or they only spent like a week or two during the summer there. But I always wanted it to be a place where they felt like that same thing, like they could come and do whatever they needed to. And, it's been interesting to watch them, raise their kids as well, especially my daughter, because her son is, old enough now that he's in second grade and he's very social and active in sports. And it's interesting to see how they have kind of carried on that and even expanded on it. So I anticipate that in 3 or 4 generations, I mean, we might just have like some party house that, the family or the kids have. Maybe that'll be my parents' farm because it's definitely been like a staple forever for family events. But, as it passes down from generation to generation, I don't know that they're going to take care of the farm end of it. I think they'll just take care of like the fishing and the outside foresty areas and enjoy them.
For
So,
sure.
Recreation
yeah.
part, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, what are you guys doing to keep the energy and the creativity alive today? Like, how do you keep doing it?
Well, Fritz has always loved cars, so I feel like he keeps his energy. I'm answering for him, but in my opinion, our garage is a circling Craigslist ad, if you will. Everything's always for sale, always moving, and I feel like that's how he tinkers and stays creative.
Yeah.
Nothing to do like there's no Ferraris in there. They're all kind of questionable.
Nothing fancy in there.
But I don't know. I can.
I mean,
for yourself.
100%. Like when we moved here, I wanted to build a garage. We had a really fun garage downtown with the business that we owned, and
Yeah.
I used the business as like the place that I could like buy and sell stuff and like, oh, look, this client maybe wants this, and I would end up with it. But yeah, I love doing that. I love keeping people on their toes. Like I will see multiple times people be like, I didn't know you had that car. It's like, yeah, I have it. I don't know that I drive it that often, but kind of thing. And yeah, I think it keeps the family on their toes because like anything could show up here. I could go out to go to Menards and come back with a different car, so or a boat. So
I
yes,
love it.
that is definitely my area. And to be honest with you too, I've actually really embraced accidentally because Holly signed me up to be a coach and I did not know it. I've actually really embraced coaching, and it's been really fun because I don't know literally. I will forget rules. I will call the umpire or something I shouldn't, or things like that. I don't know the rule, but it's been really fun for me to like. I'm going to be the hype guy. I'm going to get you guys so jacked up, so excited, and be there when you wipe out and everything. And it's been fun because most of the dads here take coaching very seriously and they have it all set, which is great. But I also get asked to be on teams a lot because they're like, well, we just need a guy like you to just like help us keep these kids excited. So that has been really rewarding for me is to do the coaching. And I've been begging my daughter. She let me do 3 practices at softball, which I had a great time with all the girls, and Mary's like, Dad, you're just too loud. So that is another way that I've been trying to keep it fun.
That's good.
Love
For me, we worked really hard when we were 20 something, right? And still are working really hard. But for me, working so hard at Outcold and building that business up to what it was, making mistakes, learning, figuring all of that out early on has allowed me to have a little bit more freedom now in my 40s. I hate to admit, but to
So we're living a Chris mentality. We're
Yeah,
10 years
we're in
right
our
30s.
That's right. You're 10 years younger.
Exactly. It's given me the ability to have confidence of I've already made these mistakes in my 20s. And what's the worst thing that can happen, right? Like that's what I tell. I have a couple of people that work for me, and as they're learning and getting more confidence and afraid to like place orders or do this, it's like what's the worst thing that could happen? We can fix mistakes. And I feel like that's where you can get really creative because you're not afraid, right? You're not afraid to make a mistake, because if you don't make a mistake, then you're not trying that hard. So that to me is just not being fearful, I think, because we've learned and experienced so much already in this life.
Yeah, that's a great call. We talk about it all the time. Holly and I do. We have our wine Mondays in Below Deck, and we always get into a business conversation. And it always ends up like when we talk about other people and asking us what we do and things like that. Like a lot of people that we know that are in their 30s, maybe their 40s, are starting businesses right now, and like they're like going through it and like working late hours and things like that. And we kind of like are very laid back, and not that we work hard, but we made sure that our life is to be around and be present. And we just have to remind ourselves, like, well, we already did that. Like, we see you guys all busting ass and starting businesses, and it's great and stuff like that. But like, we've already done that, and I think that
we had to miss out on a lot
of things.
Yeah.
To go to everyone's wedding and things because we were a traveling circus on the road with whatever business, which was super fun. But I think that's where I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, that's where a lot of our ability to find fun things and little things has been really cool now, because like it, as Holly said, like what's the worst that happened? Like we saw the worst, not that no one died, but like we saw the worst like in business and making decisions. And when we started the company, like when both of us came on, it had to work. It had to work. Like there was if it didn't work, we didn't have any jobs. So like it was kind of that mentality. And so it's been fun with Holly starting the new business, and I kind of live vicariously through her. Sometimes I miss that entrepreneurship too, of like talking about like people and places and billing and like the back end of the board and what to focus on and what not to focus on. So like I think that Holly's correct, like doing the business at the age that we did it and creating something that was successful really has allowed us to find success and authenticity in a lot smaller things, and like starting a big huge business and doing all that stuff.
It's just been really, I'm sure other people have told you this, but even just watching from afar, like seeing, well, from the 2 college graduates that I met when I was 32 to seeing you all today, like even just her love story is like one that you just don't witness a whole lot of anymore. And it's like I have goosebumps in this exact moment right this minute now from head to toe, just thinking about like the success that you guys have. Like, and I'm not just talking about the business success, like the family success. And I mean, I know that you're both like extremely close to your families, your parents, your siblings, and I watch whenever, you go to the Wisconsin Lake House. And I mean, I feel like I've been there, quite honestly, just from watching all those adventures. But it's just been really awesome to watch, even from a distance. And even, we there was a time when we probably talked every single day without question. And, now I feel like it's been like a decade since we've actually talked voice to voice. But I knew that whenever I reached out, if you guys were willing, it was going to feel exactly like it did. I had zero question of it. And I was so right. Like, I mean, I'm just taken back to like, my brain is overflowing now with like all of these memories of the time that we have collectively spent together throughout, your 20s, my 30s, and hell, even into my 40s, I think. But it's fantastic to see you guys like in this place now where you both clearly are just thriving on life. And yeah, I'm so happy for you guys both. It's really awesome to see. So
Well, thanks. And
kudos for a job well done.
thanks. And same to you. I feel like I didn't really mention the kind of when we first met, you were like the adult, right? Because we were just some
Right? I was the old person,
college, like
the most immature old person you could ever meet.
no, but we looked up to you, right? And you not only embodied like what I was talking about earlier of just being your true authentic self that we knew, but also that you could still have a great time when you have a job and real responsibilities. And I
Sure.
think that's even what you were talking about before. Like to me, if Fritz and I just try to have fun, right? Like at the end of the
Yeah.
day, life is about connecting with people, having a good time, and just enjoying each other's company. And I feel like that's what we loved so much about you, right? That it was like you showed up every day to have a great time and be yourself. So
Yeah. I love that. I mean, honestly, that couldn't have been a better segue into the next part of this, which is where I'm going to just share a little bit with you both, just about the impact that the two of you have had on me. So, Fritz and Holly, from the very beginning, you welcomed me into your lives with open arms. You truly made me feel like a part of your world. And for me, who was just starting to truly explore the world as my authentic self, the impact that that has had on me has lasted my entire life. You both introduced me to your friends who became my friends. And in that moment, there was a community where, for one of the first times in my life, I truly felt at home. Some of my favorite memories of my 30s are tied to those late nights in the boom boom room, the wine parties, the engagement parties, all of those moments that we were able to share together. And even whenever you all moved to Chicago and started your business and life was pulling us in different directions, I could still feel your support and your friendship. I mean, when I was diagnosed with cancer the first time, hell, I remember your mom sent me some of her amazing cookies, Fritz, and I still have her Tupperware from that too. So, but like even just getting to know like both of your parents and and your siblings, I mean, it was just such a amazing part of my life. And I mean, it truly has affected and impacted in the most positive way I welcome people into my life and try to encourage them to, lean into their authenticity as well. So I want you both to know how truly incredibly grateful I am for all of the laughs, all of the joy, and that sense of belonging that you helped bring into my life. You guys are obviously, as everyone can tell from listening to this podcast, you are incredible human beings. You're not only wonderful friends to have, but also just truly inspiring examples of how love, creativity, and authenticity can help shape not only your life, but the lives of the people around you. And I'm so happy that I was a benefit of that, that I was able to benefit from that rather. And I just want you both to know how truly thankful I am that our paths crossed when they did, and that it's really led us to the place that we're at now, and all of that goodness and joy and happiness and love. So I'm truly thankful to you both for what you contributed to getting me to this place. So thank you both.
That was really
Yeah, really nice. I think that one of those mentalities, one of those things that I always think about is like everything happens for a reason. And, is I appreciate the comments and know that I love hearing it. We don't do any of this stuff for compliments and things like that. But like
Yeah,
you coming into our lives at the time that it did with, especially with the work situation and all that stuff, and then becoming a good friend and that, and obviously us coming into your lives, not even knowing that you were a different person than you were before you
yeah,
met this kind of thing. Like it was fun. It was, I would talk about it all the time. Like you said, like those late is maybe irresponsible some of those late nights were, how
sure.
fun, how lucky we were to have such a fun circle of people that
Yeah,
we're all different in our own ways, but somehow the differences made up one big group of friends. And so
sure did.
it's cool. And it's funny when you sent the email and wanting to do this and things like that, we both started having all those memories come back and like thinking about it and stuff like that, it's crazy to think that a lot of those are going to be core memories for our entire life.
Yeah. They definitely are part of my, like, when I look back through life, that time period stands out as one of my favorites. And just again, when I look back and I think about all the ways that it impacted like who I am today, and it just, those were some really prolific experiences, even if some of them were maybe on the irresponsible side. We worked really hard, so I think we earned the right to play hard. And I think you guys are experiencing that now too, right? Like you worked really, really hard, and now you're reaping some of those rewards. So I'm so happy for that. Um, Anything that you guys have, I mean, I feel like you could teach a master class in building relationships. If you were to offer people that are listening something that they could take away and implement in their own life that would open them up to more relationships and more connections, what might you guys say to somebody who asked you that question?
I'll go first and then you can go.
Yeah.
So to me, something that kind of even goes back to what I admire so much about you, but is that there's a lot of times that you can be unhappy, right? Like life isn't always, that throws curveballs at you, and life is hard, right? Like it's just a challenge, and how you face every situation is the only thing you can control. The thing that I admire most about the people that I keep close to me and that have impacted my life so greatly are the people that take power and take control over their lives, and they don't just sit complacently and say, almost like what you were describing, like, well, you allowed cancer the first time to kind of control you more than you controlled it, and now you've realized, like, no, I actually have control over this. I can do something, maybe not full control over it, but you can do something to make a difference. So for me, something that I admire about everybody that I find so close to me is that if you don't like how something's going, change it or try to fix it. And you might not be able to do it overnight, but just take steps to do that. Don't just sit in a complacent space of wallowing in your sadness, right? So that would be my advice.
I mean, mine is very simple, and we're going to beat the dead horse of authenticity. I think that, it's been really fun, and it's been really cool to see the relationships, the people, even with the company. Like we ran the company as like off of a movie that Zach Galifianakis made in 1999. So like it was being authentic, and it was just so fun to see how many people wanted to jump on that train and like be part of it or do, whether it's from clients, whether from employees, whether from vendors and things like that. So I think that, I mean, at least myself came out of the big business that we did, the business we did, of the authenticity of like, I don't really need to try to be something that I'm not. Like I'm loud, I wear tie-dye, I love random cars, kind of thing. And I think that it has allowed me to attract, not only the best support system, because I know I'm a huge pain in the ass and she still is the best support system, but also some really amazing friends that we have from multiple steps. Like I started thinking about this when you sent this of like we went from Kansas City to Chicago and then Chicago to the suburbs, and like there is a group in each of those things that just like it's fun people that we ended up being around. And I think it's because we were authentic. We didn't try to undersell it, and we didn't try to oversell it, and we were who we were. And if you wanted to be a part of it, great. If you didn't, great. Kind of thing. So
Yep.
I think the authenticity, and I think that's one of the big things I try to put in the kids' heads of like it's okay to be different. It's okay to be different.
Yeah.
Now, guess what? When you get older, it's actually encouraged more. It's
That's
really hard
right.
to do.
It's better to be different. It's
Yeah,
better.
exactly.
For sure.
Damn straight. That is a perfect way for us to end this today. So for everyone that's listening, I hope you'll press the rewind button and capture down some of what Fritz and Holly shared today, because if there's anyone that could teach a master class in building relationships, I think these are two folks that could definitely do it. I hope you've enjoyed listening as we've kind of walked back through our collective lives and our shared experiences. And I hope that you will realize as well that it doesn't matter if the last time you saw each other face to face was a decade ago. You can still reach out, send a text message and say, hey, let's jump on a FaceTime or let's get on a Zoom call and let's catch up. And that's essentially what we did today. And I hope this will spark some excitement or some passion in you to maybe reach out and rekindle a relationship that you valued and that was central to who you are. But maybe time got the best of you and your direction might have gone in a different way, but those connections still exist. And oftentimes all it takes is a simple text message that says, hey, I miss you. We should chat. So that's my challenge for you today, is to think about who that person is for you, like Fritz and Holly are to me. And I encourage you to reach out to them and maybe use some of the things that we've shared that has kept us, expanding our friendship circles and continuing to head in the right direction. So hopefully you're moved to do that today. Fritz and Holly, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate you showing up authentically. Oh my God. I did this the other day. I got so freaking authentically. Authenticity and authentically. I keep trying to make one word. But
I almost
for showing up.
I almost wore a polo shirt. It's like, that is not me. I'm putting the tie on it.
No, I almost said something about your tie-dyed shirt, but you actually said it for us. So I'm really glad that to see. I mean, I feel like nothing has changed. I know so much has changed, but you're still the same two people that just I so thoroughly enjoyed being around all the time. And I'm sure that people felt that energy today through our conversation. My last message, folks, true friendship is about creating space, sharing joy, and supporting one another, no matter what time or distance has done to the relationship. You are the one that can rekindle it. So do it, and do it today while you still have time. Fritz and Holly, thanks for joining us. And folks, catch us again next week. We're sharing more open heart conversations and more authenticity. And we'll catch you next week.
Thanks, Kris.
Right.
This was great, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting us on here.
Yeah.
I didn't really know what to expect, but it was awesome. I loved it.
Nobody actually ever does. And I'm like, I promise you, it will not feel any different than if we were having a FaceTime conversation. And I think everyone they're like, oh, you were right. Actually, I was not nearly as nervous as I thought I was going to be. So the worst part for me has just been hearing my own voice, like in the playbacks.
Yeah.
But the joyful part has been getting to see the people that have made an impact on me and to be able to share words that I actually, I really thought the last time I saw you was going to be the last time that I saw you. And those are the thoughts that I sometimes have running through my head, is like, I don't know if you ever think about this, but think about the last time that you played hide and seek as a child. Did you ever realize that was the last time you were playing hide and go seek with that group of friends? none of us thought about that. And there are so many people who I already have said my last words to. And unfortunately, there's too many of them to go back and, re-up like, hey, I want this to be the last thing I say to you.
Right.
But there are people in your life that need to hear those words. And I wanted to make sure that I was the one that got to tell them to you instead of having you read them in a letter that came after I wasn't here anymore. So, and while I hope that I have decades left, the reality is that, my cancer's not going anyplace. It can't be cured. So if it decides to kick into high gear, I want to be ahead of the game. And I want to have these conversations before I'm like laying in a hospital bed, like thinking, oh God, I have all these people that I need to talk to. So
Well, I so much appreciate that. I always say, like, nobody makes it out alive, right? We're all dying.
that's
So,
right.
no,
That is my 100% my philosophy, 100%. And that's why I think this is important for everyone to get to hear,
exactly.
because we all have this minute right now to do something with.
Yeah, it's very
So,
inspiring for sure. So I so appreciate you reaching out and sharing
yeah.
and going back down memory lane. It was really fun.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
quite
it absolutely was.
quite an honor to be one of the 74, Kris. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, you guys hold a very special place in my heart. And, and there still might be a time that we get to see each other in person again. And I'm going to hold on to that. I hope
Yeah.
that our paths do get to cross again. So,
Yeah,
and
me
until
too.
then, I'm going to just live on the high of this conversation.
Us too.
Let's do it. It was
All
so
right.
good to see you.
It was so great to see you both. Give my love to everybody and both of your families.